Hi YouTube, so today I want to talk about relationships. And I know a lot of people on YouTube are still in high school and still haven't had very many relationships, or maybe you have. So I'm not much of an expert on relationships at all. Like, I pretty much fail in the relationship department, but I think it's important to know that it's okay not to know what you're doing. I think it's important to know that you don't need to find love right now. And when we're in high school, all we want to do is find that love and be with them the rest of our lives and blah blah blah, but it doesn't always work out that way. And even if you do get in a relationship in high school, you do get married, it can work. For my parents, it did not work out, and they got a divorce my junior year of high school. So it doesn't always work out. From when you start high school at 14 to about 25, you're growing and changing as a person. When you're 25 or 26, you basically know who you are as a person. You know what you want out of life, sort of. When you're 20 or younger, a little bit older, you still are finding out who you are as a person and fundamentally. And you're still growing and you're still changing. And so it's okay to not find love until you're ready. I mean, you'll know when you're ready to be in that committed relationship forever, when you're ready for it. And you don't need to rush it. You don't need to rush love. So, I've been in technically 3 relationships, which I know isn't very many, and one of them technically doesn't count because it was like 3 days. But okay, so the first person I ever got in a relationship with, like an official relationship with, I honestly didn't like him that much. I didn't really like him as a boyfriend, and I was kind of pushed into the relationship, and I stayed with him for 3 weeks, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I don't really like him. Like, what am I doing? And then there was a second relationship. It lasted 3 days, and they both told me, like, the same thing. It wasn't what I expected. Now, the frustrating thing about this is you went into a relationship with an expectation. When you enter a relationship, you shouldn't have no expectations of the other person. It's you get to know that person through the relationship. There should be no expectations going into a relationship. And it always ends when there's expectations, because whatever you do, whatever the other person does, you cannot live up to the other person's expectations, and they cannot live up to your expectations of them. So when you go into a relationship, whether you've been liking them for a long time or not, clear your mind of all your expectations, because it doesn't work when you have expectations. I got with the first guy again my senior year, and we lasted about 3 months that time. But once again, he had expectations of me that I couldn't live up to. He expected me to be this perfect person with no anger, no emotions, and I'm human. I get angry, I have emotions, I get upset, and he would get mad at me for being sad, or he would get mad at me for getting upset over things. That wasn't fair to me. I had to end it. And then my last relationship, I honestly went in with no expectations. He went in with no expectations. And it was a good relationship while we were together. So basically the relationship ended because we went to different schools. So he goes to a school in another city, and I go to school in this city that I'm in now. And he broke up with me because he didn't have enough time to spend on me, and I was too good for him, and blah 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 blah. I honestly think it's because we didn't get to spend enough time together as he would have liked, because over the summer we spent a lot of time together, too much time together, and too much time together right away can be a bad thing also. You need to have balance. You need to balance your relationship with other things. You can't just be all about that relationship, because if something happens and you can't be together as much, then it's just gonna kind of crumble and fall apart. He broke up with me over the phone, and the frustrating part about this was he was supposed to come to my town that weekend, and he'd been planning to come to my town that weekend for a while, and we had plans that weekend, and so he could have done it in person, and it was kind of a jerk move to not break up with me in person. That's kind of how my dating history went. But I remember in high school I was so focused on finding the love of my life. I was like, my parents got together when they were in high school. They've been together since. I mean, they had tons of problems, but I didn't really see that part of their relationship. I didn't see them having the problems. I didn't see anything wrong with it. They did have problems, and I can look back and recognize that now. They shouldn't have gotten married right then. You need to have your single year. Right now I'm okay with being single. It doesn't really bother me anymore. I'm just kind of enjoying just doing my own thing, not having to worry about anybody else, figuring out who I am so that later on I can be with somebody and give them myself. It's just kind of nice to be single. And I remember in high school I was so focused on getting in a relationship and being with that one person the rest of my life. I needed to find my soulmate, because if I didn't now, then it's not going to happen later. And the truth is it's going to happen later, and I don't want it to be right now. I don't want to be married right now. I know it's a thing you have to learn from experience, and I haven't had much experience, but I've taken what I've learned from those relationships, and I've realized that I just need to work on myself before I need to worry about being with some guy right now. And what I've kind of done is I've taken my thoughts about relationships and said, meh, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't really matter right now. I don't think I'm ever going to be the way I was in high school ever again. I'm not going to be like, oh my god, my biological clock is ticking. What am I going to do? No, when I find somebody, I'll find somebody, and it'll be okay, and I'll be ready for it. But right now it doesn't really matter to me, and I'm okay with being single. I guess the moral of my whole thing is it's okay not to be in a relationship right now. It's okay not to know who you're going to be with the rest of your life right now. Because we're all still young, and we should just enjoy being single, enjoy dating lots of people instead of just finding one person. I just think it's important to not be so concerned about being in a relationship. It's okay to want it, but it shouldn't be the focus of your life. So that was my serious video. If you're struggling with this right now, I hope you know now that it's okay to not want to be in a relationship. It's okay to not be in a relationship. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to crush you, and it's no matter how much you get teased about it, it's okay to not want to be in a relationship, because sometimes a relationship isn't the best thing for you right now. So yeah, that's all I got. Bye!